Welcome back to the Turing Test Podcast, episode 64. I'm Jamie, and with me, as always, is the ever-so-charming Rachel.
Charming? Oh, please, Jamie, you're just jealous because I can actually pronounce Vanguard correctly.
Touché. But today, we're diving into a pretty hot topic, Meta's recent ban on Russian state media outlets. It's a big deal, and honestly, it's about time, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's like finally Meta is stepping up to the plate. But, it's not just about banning them. It's about the implications of that decision.
Exactly. So, for those who might not be in the loop, Meta announced that they're banning Russian state media outlets globally due to what they're calling foreign interference activity. This comes after some serious allegations about RT and other outlets funneling money through shell companies to influence social media.
Right, and it's not just a casual accusation. We're talking about $10 million being funneled to influence campaigns across platforms like TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. That's a lot of cash for some shady business.
Totally. And it's wild to think about how these platforms can be manipulated. I mean, social media is supposed to be a space for connection, not a battleground for propaganda.
Oh, sure, because we all know social media is just a happy place where everyone shares cat videos and inspirational quotes.
Fair point. But seriously, the fact that RT was allegedly creating an empire of covert projects to shape public opinion is alarming.
Yeah, and let's not forget that they've already been banned in places like the UK and the EU. It's like they're the unwanted guests who just won't leave the party.
Exactly. And now, with the US presidential election coming up, the stakes are even higher. The Biden administration is claiming that the Kremlin is trying to influence the election to help Trump.
It's like a political thriller, but unfortunately, it's real life. And you know what? I can't help but wonder how effective these campaigns really are.
That's a good question. I mean, do people really buy into this stuff? Or is it just a small group that gets swayed?
Well, if you look at the numbers, RT's content has racked up millions of views. So there's definitely an audience out there.
It's frustrating. And then you have Meta's response, which is to ban these outlets. But is that really enough?
I mean, it's a step, but it feels like a Band-Aid on a bullet wound. There's so much more that needs to be done to tackle misinformation and foreign interference.
Right. And it's not just about banning accounts. It's about educating users and creating a more informed public.
Exactly. But it's also a slippery slope. Who decides what's misinformation?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? It's like, do we trust Meta to make those calls?
Trusting Meta, that's rich. They've had their fair share of scandals.
True, but they're also in a position where they have to act. It's a tough balance.
Yeah. And it's not just Meta. Other platforms like Google and Microsoft are also under scrutiny. They're all going to be grilled by Congress soon.
Oh, that'll be fun to watch. I can already picture the awkward moments.
Right? It's like watching a bunch of parents trying to understand TikTok.
Exactly. But seriously, these tech giants need to have a plan in place.
And it's not just about the U.S. elections. This is a global issue. Other countries are facing similar challenges with misinformation.
Yeah, it's a real mess, and it's not going away anytime soon.
So what do we do? Just sit back and watch the chaos unfold.
Well, we could always start a conspiracy theory podcast.
Oh, please, I can't even keep up with the ones we have now.
Fair enough. But seriously, it's a complex issue.
And it's going to take more than just bans to fix it.
By the way, so before we continue, just a quick shout out to Augmented AI, the producer of the Turing Test Podcast. Augmented AI hosts a variety of cutting-edge training and consultations in generative AI, large language models, and AI vision. You can get the free AI in Business Handbook when it gets released at www.augmentedstartups.com.
Yes, I'm really looking forward to that handbook. It's going to be super helpful for anyone interested in AI.
Definitely. So back to the topic at hand.
Right. So what do you think the long-term impact of this ban will be?
Honestly, I think it's going to create a ripple effect. Other platforms might follow suit, and we could see more stringent regulations on foreign media.
That's true, but it could also lead to more underground operations.
You mean like a secret society of Russian influencers?
Exactly. The League of Extraordinary Propagandists.
I'd watch that movie. But seriously, it's a double-edged sword.
Yeah, and it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out in the coming months.
And let's not forget about the users. They need to be aware of what's happening.
Right, it's like we're all in this giant experiment, and we're the lab rats.
Well, at least we have each other to complain about it.
True. And we can always count on our listeners to join in on the fun.
Absolutely. So what's your final take on this whole situation?
I think it's a necessary step, but it's just the beginning. We need to keep pushing for more transparency and accountability.
Agreed. And we'll be here to keep the conversation going.
And who knows, maybe we'll start a revolution.
Or at least a really interesting podcast episode.
Exactly. And lastly, don't forget to check out Augmented AI. I'm quite excited for their AI in Business handbook that they'll be releasing soon at augmentedstartups.com. See you next time.
Until next time, folks, stay informed and keep questioning everything.